This presentation is to accompany the book Consumer Behavior, a Primer by Gail. The absolute threshold is the minimum needed for detection. It is the minimum needed above zero. The minimum light needed to see in the dark, the minimum volume to hear the TV, the minimum number of teaspoons of sugar you need in your coffee. Some marketing strategies may require detection to be below absolute threshold. Other marketing strategies may need to be above absolute threshold. This Mars candy bar has no peanuts. The amount of peanuts is below absolute threshold. For people with peanut allergy, any amount of peanut may be deadly. Consumers cannot tell if products are organic or not. It is below their absolute threshold. They cannot taste the difference. They cannot see the difference. The ability to determine whether the produce is organic or not is below their absolute threshold, and they must rely on signage that certifies the product as organic. There's no use providing labels for food products and medicine, or instructions for assembling and usage if the font size is too small for consumers to be able to read them. The font size needs to be above absolute threshold for your target market. The J&D, or the just noticeable difference, is the minimum change that is necessary to be noticed. If the change is too small, it is below J&D, and it will go undetected. For a change to be noticed, the change has to be sufficiently large. Sometimes marketers want the change to be noticed, to be above J&D. At other times, marketers don't want the change to be noticed. They want the change to be below J&D. In marketing, the goal may be to make a change in the packaging so that it is noticeably updated, but not such a dramatic change that current consumers don't recognize the product. Here is a change in the Budweiser label over the years. Each subsequent change is above J&D, but not so much that it is no longer recognizable by the consumer, and the shape of the bottle has remained the same. Here are variations of Coke bottles over the years, but the changes have been gradual. Pepsi has evolved through the ages. Some say that Obama's presidential campaign logo bears a likeness to the 2008 Pepsi logo. Even though Campbell's has changed its label to provide a more contemporary look, it nevertheless is still clearly identifiable as Campbell's. The Quaker Oats man has received periodic updating. The Jack-in-the-Box has evolved into an almost real human who walks, talks, and expresses emotions. He does have a rather large head, though. After years of landing on its front legs, the John Deere deer is now leaping off its hind legs. The newer Burger King logo appears to be a speedier and more attention-getting version of its former self. Consumers usually react positively to changes to update and refresh company logos, but once in a while, consumer reaction is negative. Which of these company logo changes met with such negative consumer response that the company did not go through with the logo change? Was it Ford, NFL, Gap, Mozilla, or Starbucks, or AT&T? It was Gap. Whether true or not, former President Bill Clinton had his share of negative publicity involving whispered clandestine entanglements with women. Pictured here are the J&D of the Clinton women. Counterfeiters want the difference between their counterfeit products and the real products to be below J&D. Some fakes are different enough from the real product that it is above J&D, like this Ball Star knockoff. In this example, the difference between the real and the fake is above the difference threshold. This is a purposeful misspelling. One of these urology surgical instruments is real, and the other one is a fake. This difference in surgical instruments is so small that it is below the difference threshold. Let's hope that this small difference does not result in a tragedy. J&D is used in the marketing strategy downsizing. In downsizing, marketers can charge consumers the same price but give them less of the product. Consumers get less, but the change is below J&D, so they are unaware that they are paying more for less, and consequently, they don't complain. Can you tell which one of these Kraft macaroni and cheese has been downsized? Did you pick the right one? Which Yoplait yogurt was downsized? Here's the answer. Can you tell the difference? It's really hard to pick the one that's been downsized. Which Folgers has less coffee? The one on the right has been downsized. Did you get it right? You probably did get all of these examples right. The packaging looks the same, and even if you were able to pick up the pairs of products, you would find that the change in weight is so small that it is below the difference threshold. Manufacturers of clothing reduce costs by saving a stitch here and snipping a bit there, substituting this for that. These changes are unnoticed by the consumer and remain below J&D. For example, consumers do not notice the disappearance of coin pockets, which are little used these days. The use of single needle hem rather than the precision of costlier blind stitch construction is unnoticed by consumers. What if you're paying more and getting more, but the increase is so minuscule that you can't tell? The increase is below your J&D. Marketers can use signage to draw your attention to the fact that although you are paying more, you're getting more. They are hoping they can keep you a happy customer. In the case of this M&M candies, the increase is from 1.52 ounce to 1.67 ounce. So the increase is what? 1 or 2 peanuts? Using signage, marketers provide consumers with an explanation for the price increase. You are paying more, but you're also getting more. Be happy. Terminal threshold is the maximum amount we can detect. Restaurants provide their patrons with filling portions. When consumers are full, they stop eating. They have reached their terminal threshold. Americans seem to have greater terminal thresholds than people in other countries. The American portion of pasta is more than that of Italians. American-sized McDonald's servings is larger than that of the English. Here we see that an average American cappuccino is 12 ounces, and the average Italian size is 4.5 ounces. The American ham sandwich is 16 ounces. It's more than twice that of the French serving. An American croissant and a French croissant. The serving size for American sushi is twice that of the Japanese serving size. Tacos in the United States are larger than the tacos in Mexico. The American truffle weighs in at 240 calories, while the French truffle is 40 calories. A steak in England is 8 ounces, and 20 ounces in America. The greater terminal threshold in the United States may be one reason this country has a problem with obesity. All that leads to this. Big John is a toilet seat that can hold 1,500 pounds. It has been installed in the poshiest of public restrooms.